The type of property. I mentioned the little flat above the takeaway. Anybody else in here think of any kinds of properties that mortgage companies might be wary of compared to others?
Leaseholds with short leases?
Yeah, I mean, you know, if it was a leasehold property with a very small lease, a lot of them will say they want a minimum of 25 years left at the end of whatever mortgage term that you've negotiated. Studio flats. Who thinks studio flats are great and sell any time and you get a really, really great price on a studio flat? You know, with a studio flat, you're very limited on the kind of person that can live in that flat. So, you know, some companies might want to avoid lending on studio flats because they think if they ever did have to go for repossession, it's going to be difficult for them to move that flat on. Simply not enough people looking for that kind of property. Ex-local authority flats and houses. Anybody run into any difficulty with that? Generally, houses are okay. I mean, unless it's a very kind of run-down area, generally you won't have a problem with houses. Still a lot of mortgage lenders who will not lend on ex-local authority flats. You know, a lot of kind of high-rise developments, they don't want to touch it with a barge pole. Their attitude is, again, if we had to repossess, we're going to really struggle to get a fair price. Who's going to want to live in there? Concrete build properties, a lot of like prefabricated property that was defective, don't want to touch it. It's just too big a risk for them. They don't feel it makes up adequate security for the amount of money they're going to lend. Flats I mentioned with more than 4 stories, you know, again, it's not a science. We've got in Cardiff, you know, high-rise new build flats that are very desirable, that are city centre based, that, you know, never a shortage of professional people who want to live there and, you know, happy to forgo the sort of space that you would get living a little bit out of town because they want to be in the heart of the action and close to all the amenities and maybe close to their place of work. You know, you've got high-rise flats then that are the ones that were built back in the 1960s that, you know, most of them have been knocked down by now, but again, a lot of companies won't like lending on anything like that. Properties with more than 1 title number. So again, you might have like some subtitles within a property, might be like access, shared access, rights that they're not really happy about, things like that, flying freehold. So again, that might cause an issue. And we've already touched on non-standard construction in the concrete. Other things, timber frame, non-standard construction, anything really that isn't your standard kind of brick or tile or brick and slate, stone tile, stone slate. If it's unusual construction methods, you know, might be something they're not happy about lending to.
Isn't timber frame quite common now?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a problem now, but again, you know, it depends on the kind of property. Timber frame in itself probably isn't going to cause any problem. The property I live in is timber frame, but, you know, if it's like an old council build timber frame with prefabricated walls and, you know, a flat roof, things like that, it could be an issue, yeah. I mean, the thing is, you will always find a company who will lend on a property. It's very rarely going to be a situation where you can have a property that no company in the world's going to touch. But I think, you know, if you've got a decent credit profile, you want to get the best possible rate you can. Who in here would want to pay over the odds for their mortgage, you know? Nobody. And again, it's just about doing the due diligence, knowing based on a type of property, what kind of finance deal you'd be likely to get, so you can put that calculation then into your model as part of the overall business proposal and see if the figures stack up. Because at the end of the day, that's all that there is about. And what myself and Michael have learnt from AJ and what he will always stress, this is not an emotional purchase. This is strictly business. You know, if the curtains don't look that great and the lawn hasn't been cut properly, it's not a big deal. The only thing that you need to think about is, do the figures stack up? If I invest my time and money in that, is it going to give me a decent return?
Can you go even more in depth in that, James? Can you show us what model you use to see if the figures stack up initially? Like,
okay.
Sift through all properties.
We will be covering certain kind of formulas that we would say you need to work to, things like, you know, the yield. There's different rules that AJ advises on, and you will all get a copy of this, but yeah, we certainly will be going through that. And, you know, if the figures don't add up on that, walk away, don't get involved. But yeah, generally they're the types of property that you may have problems getting finance on, or you may be more limited if you would choose to buy them.
Will you be covering that today in examples? Or?
Yeah, there will be some examples we can go through on that, absolutely. All right. Personal credit history. I touched on about 3 extremes. I touched on, you know, the person who pays their bills on time, every month without fail. The person who's a bit blasé, and if they can't afford the mortgage because, you know, their cash flow's a bit tight, or they fancy Cancun for a couple of weeks instead, then, you know, they're not going to get the same deal. And then you've got high-risk categories of people who have been bankrupt, who've had IVAs, which may, particularly in the present market, struggle to get any kind of mortgage. But just going to go through some of the things that companies will look at when they're looking at your profile, looking at what you do, how much you earn, and the kind of deal that they're likely to give you on that. I will throw in an example as well that I just had a conversation with a few people about out in the corridor. You would be surprised on what different companies will underwrite on. There's 2 main credit agencies in the UK. There are more, but 2 main ones. You've probably heard of them, Equifax and Experian. So the vast majority of us will have files sat with these companies. They'll have information about us. They then pass that information on to lenders who we've approached to get finance from. They will then use that information to determine, number 1, if they think that we are worthy to have credit from them, and then number 2, the kind of credit that they feel that we are worthy to have. Different lenders will use different methods. So although they're all asking for the same information, the information that Equifax give them is the same. The way they use that information is very different. Some lenders will have automated systems, and they'll just put your information through that. Who watches Little Britain? Yeah? The computer says no. It can be as simple as that. They will literally put your information through their scoring system. The computer says yes, the computer says no. Other companies will manually underwrite. So rather than just getting the computer to do it, they will look at your credit. They will look at, you know, how you've managed your credit, and they will then make a manual decision. That's more of a human thing. Obviously, the first one is more automated. But I'm just going to give you the information that the credit agencies hold. Hopefully, you'll all get a couple of ideas to, you know, just be aware of, or maybe to improve your own credit score, yeah? The first bit of information I'm going to cover is the electoral roll. Anybody in here that doesn't register themselves on the electoral roll at your residential address? Great. Always register on the electoral roll. It's the first thing they look at. Just makes your life a little bit easier. They see the electoral roll, they think, great, she's been on the electoral roll for the last 10 years, she has got great history at her own property. That's a big tick in your box, yeah? If you're not on there, they start asking questions. Oh, not on the electoral roll, why aren't you on the electoral roll? So always go on the electoral roll. I think we get ours in October. You get a form through the door. It looks like junk mail, and you think, oh, don't do it. Otherwise, register online. You can always go on your local authority's websites. I know my local authority allows you to do it. I would imagine all of them are getting like that now. Just go on, register yourself at the address on the electoral roll if you're not already there. Gives you history, gives you proven in writing history at a property, okay?